I absolutely love competition reality TV shows. I feel like you're judging me a little bit.
I'm not judging you.
You're not silently judging me.
No. I
Call me off my yums.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Moments with McClellan. Our next guest, who represents the entire state of Delaware, we are here with Sarah McBride.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
Thrilled to be here.
So did we just say the representative from Delaware?
That's right. The representative from Delaware, the greatest state in the history of the Union, which I feel like I can say because Virginia is a commonwealth, so we're not in competition.
That's a very good point.
We're not in competition.
Very good point, yes. So she's good at this already, and she is new to Congress, but you are not new to elected service, and you are about 6 months in as a member of Congress after serving in the Delaware legislature. How has the transition been for you?
Well, I'm very good at transitions, but...
There.
Right? I can make that joke. First off, it's the professional privilege of my life to be here. I am in awe every single day that I come into this Capitol. I genuinely, and I know this sounds cliche for a politician to say, I am genuinely grateful that I get to represent Delaware. It is filled with such good, decent people, and I will say the only way to make being here sustainable is to go home and spend time in Delaware, because it fills my tank and it rejuvenates my energy to deal with all the crap that all of us are having to deal with here in Congress. But in so many ways, you know, my journey to Congress for me has been a journey back to hope. Like, as a young person, I never thought that someone like me could serve in public office, let alone federal office. And so in addition to all that I feel when I walk these halls and take in the history and realize that I'm a member of Congress, I also feel a deep sense of awe that I am living in possibility.
That's exactly right. So what has surprised you the most?
Well, look, I mean, obviously I wish that I was entering with you in the majority in a very different Congress where we were passing paid leave and affordable childcare and affordable health care and housing for every one of our constituents. You know, I think for me, what has surprised me, I guess it's not surprising, but what's jarring up close is that, and it's not most people, but for a notable number of people on the other side of the aisle, this is all about attention.
Yeah.
And I know that's not a hopeful thing to say, but like, I think it is so disappointing to see people who treat this as a reality TV show.
Yes.
It's jarring to see people say things behind closed doors and then get out there and just parrot what the president says, even when they know it's wrong and even when they've admitted it to themselves. And I think that, you know, it's disappointing, but it makes me more determined for us to get the majority, because we need serious people in charge. That's what we have in our leadership. That's what our caucus represents. Because the other side of the aisle, while it might not be every single member, their caucus has been taken over, their party has been taken over by deeply unserious people.
That's very true. That is very true. So you alluded to how awed by the history you are walking in the halls. We are both history makers, but we are also huge history nerds.
Yes.
So let me ask you, what is your favorite historic place to visit and why?
You know, it's going to be an odd answer, but right now in this moment, I genuinely love when we get to go to the floor. I know you're not just asking about the Capitol. You know, I could go on about all the different historical sites here, about the historical sites in Delaware, in Philadelphia, our suburb in the north, Philadelphia. But, you know, one of the things that I just think about constantly was the feeling I felt the first time I walked onto the floor of the House. And it was a week after the election, a week to the day. I was here for freshman orientation. And we gathered as freshmen in Statuary Hall. Were you with us? Because you came in midterm last term.
So I was invited to your orientation. I came to the dinner.
You were like, I don't need this.
Yeah. I think I was, because was it the dinner and then you went to the floor?
Yes. I was going to say, I thought you might.
Yes.
I thought you were there. But right, we all gather in Statuary Hall. For you, a sitting member of Congress, for us as members-elect. And you're in this chamber where the House met for the first 50 years of their time in the Capitol, the place where Abraham Lincoln served in the House of Representatives. And then after we gathered there, we walked 100 feet down that hallway through the doors that the president goes through for the State of the Union, and for me, onto the floor for the first time ever. And I remember sitting there and just feeling the history that's heavy in the air. And you and I both served in state legislatures, and you know when you're in the state legislature, and the Virginia legislature is a historic building in and of itself, but you feel a deep sense of responsibility to deliver. And I had always felt that as a state legislator. But on top of that, what you feel when you're in that space is that we are actually stewards of democracy.
Yes.
Right? We are taking a baton that has been carried forward through the Civil War and World War I and World War II, through the great social movements of our time. And when you're sitting in that space, you can feel that history in the air, and you can feel the history of our predecessors as they passed the 13th Amendment and the 14th Amendment in that chamber. You realize that's the space where Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid were created. The chairs we sit in are the chairs that people sat in to pass the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act. And what an incredible place to be able to work, to be able to sit, and to be able to reflect on all of the challenges that we've actually overcome.
So for me, my first time on the House floor was actually when I got sworn in, because I came in a special election. And I remember just this incredible sense of awe to be sworn in as a member of Congress on the Bible that my dad kept his poll tax receipt in a building that was not built for me, but probably by my ancestors. Like that, I remember getting chills. And sometimes when we're here late at night, I like to just wander the halls when there are no tourists here and think of all the history that happened here. So yeah, no, it's pretty cool. So speaking of history, if you could have dinner with any historic figure, who would it be and why?
Honestly, I feel like this is a cop-out answer, but it would be Abraham Lincoln. One of my favorite books on leadership is Team of Rivals by Doris Kearns Goodwin.
Yep.
And I think Abraham Lincoln was one of the most talented politicians in figuring out how to meet principle with pragmatism, how to move public opinion, that leaders have to be in front of public opinion, but if they get too far out ahead, they lose their grip on public opinion, and sense of self that inspires the people around you.
Yeah.
I would love to have dinner with him.
Yeah, he also, I hear, told some pretty funny stories, so that'd be a pretty good dinner. And then, so if you could travel back in time and tell your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
That it's going to be okay. That you can live your truth and dream big dreams all at the same time. And that the only things that are truly impossible are the things that you don't try.
That's good advice. That is good advice. So this job can be hard and sometimes disheartening, especially with the current administration and all. You know, we're in the backlash to progress that we often see as a country. How do you find and keep your joy?
Well, one is going back to Delaware. Whenever I am able to spend time there, it genuinely brings me joy and fills my tank and recharges me. I think too, in this moment, hope is a conscious effort, but just reflecting and reading about history to be reminded that we've been through some shit before, excuse my language.
Yes, we have.
And you cannot tell me that the reasons for hopelessness now are greater than the reasons for hopelessness at any of those other points. And then the final thing, in addition to family and friends, I love some good trash TV.
Yeah?
Yeah, so I like competition reality TV shows. So Traitors is one of my favorite shows. I've finished all of the seasons here and internationally, so I'm out of Traitors seasons to watch right now, but I absolutely love competition reality TV shows.
Oh, well.
I feel like you're judging me a little bit.
I'm not judging
You're not
you.
silently judging me a little bit. Don't yuck my yum.
Well, so I'm making that face because that surprises me. And my next question is, what is something about you that would surprise people?
Well, in addition to the fact that I have both great and terrible taste in TV, I'm an introvert. And I think
does surprise me.
people don't, that if you're in this job, you have to be an extrovert.
Right.
And I think they misunderstand the difference between the like outgoing shy spectrum and the introvert extrovert spectrum.
Yes.
Right? One is social anxiety. Are you comfortable out in public? I'm fine out in public. It's where do you get your energy by being out or being alone? And I get my energy by being alone.
So I'm borderline.
Okay.
So speaking of hope and just how difficult things can be here, in a recent interview, I heard you talking about the politics of grace, and that you said there is a hunger for some level of grace for us to just not be.
I think there are real disagreements in this country, and there's a lot of stuff that's going on that is genuinely and rightfully not only outrageous and frustrating, but deeply dangerous. And I think we have to hold our colleagues on the other side as accountable as possible. But I think we have to resist the instinct and the push to treat voters the same way that we treat elected officials. And I think that we both have better outcomes, and I believe it is better politics for our party to try to bring out the best in people. I think anger and hate and fear are inherently regressive emotions. You might be able to use them for short-term political gain, but if that is your strategy, I believe it lays the foundation for the politics of backlash, of bitterness, of bigotry. And I believe, as people who believe in progress, we have to convince people that the risk of pursuing a future that they have never experienced and that none of their ancestors ever experienced, that risk is worth taking. And that only comes through hope. It only comes through positivity. It only comes through inclusion and being welcoming and showing everyone that in that future they will belong. And so I think it brings out the best in us, which I think ultimately leads to better policies. But I also will just say that as someone who believes in progress, we have to recognize that yes, in this country, people's patience and their grace has been abused.
Yeah.
But the course correction to that cannot be eliminating all grace from our politics. We need grace with growth, but we cannot change hearts and minds. We cannot gain unlikely allies. We cannot improve imperfect allies if we excommunicate people and render them permanently guilty for not being on our side from the start, for not being perfect down the line. Grace is necessary to not only create room for growth, but to create an incentive for growth.
Yeah.
And I think that we have to, all of us who believe in progress, we have to recognize that change making is not easy, and it's not always fair. And that is messed up when it's unfair. But democracy is not easy. The predecessors of ours, the advocates and the activists who push for that change that we are the beneficiaries of in so many different ways, they recognize that it wasn't easy, and yes, that it wasn't fair. But you have to grapple with the world as it is to create the world as you want it to be.
Well, and I would add to that, everyone's views on policy and politics is shaped by their life experience and what they know. And for a long time in our country, there was only one perspective. in seats of power, but now there are multiple perspectives, and that's a good thing. That's diversity, by the way.
Right.
But you also have to give people the grace to meet them where they are and understand what is it about your life experience and what you know that causes you to believe what you believe. More importantly, we've got to share our life experiences and what we know and give them the grace to be vulnerable enough in that sharing.
People don't know what they don't know.
Yep.
And, I think you can only have a conversation. And a conversation is not lecturing one way. Conversation is a two-way street. And in that, it requires listening. But you can't create change. You can't change people's hearts and minds if you aren't even willing to be in conversation with them. And again, that puts more of a burden on the people who want that change. But that's the reality of life.
Yeah, it is. It is. Man, I could talk to you all day, but we're going to do lightning round.
Okay. Oh.
So,
Always intimidated
one of
by
which you've
lightning
already
round.
answered. So I'm gonna ask it anyway because you might change your mind. Favorite TV show?
Oh, not Traitors, Hacks.
Oh, okay.
Right now, Hacks.
All right. Favorite musician?
This is, you know what? I'm going to resist saying this is embarrassing because it's not embarrassing. I'm a Swiftie.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
My daughter would love it.
Wonderful.
All right. Your go-to song for an instant mood boost?
So I don't know that it's a mood boost, but it's like like an energy boost.
Okay.
My theme song is "Who's Afraid of Little Old Me" by Taylor Swift.
There you go. So it's summer and it's hot. What is your favorite beach in Delaware?
You can't ask me to choose my favorite beach in Delaware. Okay. I love all my beaches.
All of them. All right.
I love all of them. I love Rehoboth.
Okay.
I love the community there. I love the restaurants there. I love everything about Rehoboth. But it depends on your mood, right? If you want to party, go to Dewey. If you want to antique shop and enjoy a Baytown, you go to Lewis. If you're with a family, an extended family, you get a place in Bethany. It's all great, but Rehoboth.
Okay.
That's not rapid fire. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. What are you reading now?
I am actually reading a biography by Susan Page of Nancy Pelosi.
Maybe she can autograph it for you.
Should.
Your favorite superhero?
Batman.
Favorite villain?
Only because I love Batman Returns. Penguin. The Penguin.
Pretty good. Who plays you in your biopic?
Well, it would have to probably be, unfortunately, an undiscovered trans actress.
Well, I think that there will be plenty of those in the future, and I can't wait to see it. So, what do you want your legacy to be?
I think two things. One, I want to be part of a Democratic Congress that modernizes our care infrastructure by passing paid family and medical leave and affordable child care, including universal pre-K. Two, I want to be part of a Democratic Party that rebuilds itself by being the most welcoming party, by being a party that brings out the better angels in our nation, a party that extends grace, because I think that that's the only way we can begin to sort of heal our politics and our country.
Well, I think that we will be doing that together, hopefully very, very soon. And thank you for joining us on Moments with McClellan.
Thank you. Can I just say, it's not only a pleasure to be with you, but it's an honor to serve with you.
Thank you.
I have learned from you, learned from watching you lead, and I'm just so grateful for your friendship and your collaboration in this work.
Thank you. And we are going to go on some history nerd tours soon. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching.